Well, the 2022 season previews continue today with the Vancouver Canucks, the fourth team. And last year, not really a good year. This year, it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to do because some people have them finishing as a playoff team. Some people have them finishing out of the playoffs, depending on how you look at the other teams in that division. Yeah, it is kind of a very it's weak Pacific Division, but it's kind of competitive at the same time. But anyways, if you're new to the channel and you ever already subscribed, please make sure to do that. We are only, I think, 9 subscribers away. We lost a couple from 900, so I would really appreciate if you subscribed and help me reach my goal. Anyways, that's all I have to say, and let's get into the preview. So last season for the Vancouver Canucks was just a shitstorm. I'm gonna say it right here and now. They went 23, 39, and 4 with 50 points, and they finished 24th overall in the NHL. Excuse me, I don't know why I keep burping. Probably because I drank a whole thing of orange juice before I made this video. But anyways, I look at this and I say, that's actually pretty good for the hellhole of a season they had. A lot of their players had down seasons. Nate Schmidt had a down season. Virtanen had a down season. A lot of other players had down seasons. And yes, Schmidt, Virtanen, they're gone, but they are worth saying. And Braden Holtby, who came in as an addition, had a down year as well. Just about everyone had a down season if you're a Vancouver Canuck. Even Elias Pettersson did. And I mean, he was injured for a little bit there as well. So we have to throw that into play. But early in the season when he wasn't injured, he was just hitting posts. I remember I was watching a Canucks, I think it was Canucks. It might have been Canucks Oilers, maybe. And they were talking about how Pettersson just couldn't stop hitting the post. He was getting shots on net, but every time he would hit the post, he had 13 or 14 posts by the end of the season. And then, of course, there was the Delta variant that occurred, which shut down everything. And not just the Canucks, the Utica Comets, too. So they lost so basically both teams were basically down because 90% of the entire organization, AHL and NHL combined, including staff, were affected by this Delta variant. So, basically the entire organization was injured. Or not injured, was sick. And then once they came back, they actually really tried their hardest. I was actually really impressed with how they did. They came back with no expectations. And, they had chances to make the playoffs, but they didn't. And they gave teams like the Oilers and they gave teams like the Flames and even the Jets at points, they gave them a hard time trying to make it higher in the standings or, in Calgary's case, make the playoffs. So, they did a good job on that front. And then the final thing that happened before all the drama ensued, or before, we make to this preview, was the Jake Virtanen situation. There was a lot of allegations that went down on Jake Virtanen, and let's just say it's not a problem anymore, at least not for Vancouver. So, we're going to see if those allegations come true. We're going to see if Virtanen gets another shot with a different NHL team, but for right now, he's gone. So, anyways, to wrap that all up, it was kind of a hellhole of a season for Vancouver. And to be honest, this coming season, it can't be much worse than that was. Your key departures list for the Vancouver Canucks consists of a lot of people, actually. They lost Cole Lind to the Seattle Kraken. That was their Seattle loss. Solid young guy. They lost a couple depth guys in Travis Boyd, Jalen Chatfield, and Sven Bartishi. They also lost another young guy in Brogan Rafferty. And then they lost a longtime veteran for the Canucks. He's played in the Canucks his entire career, if I'm not mistaken. Alexander Edler. There was some criticism with him during this season. He also did not have a good year. So it would make sense him leaving. They also bought out, I almost said brought out, they bought out the contract of Braden Holtby, and then they also traded Nate Schmidt off to Winnipeg and his contract. So his contract was kind of a disaster. They also lost, of course, as I said, Jake Virtanen, and then they lost these three guys to my Arizona Coyotes. Jay Beagle, Antoine Roussel, and Louis Erickson. So, obviously, bad contracts, but you know what? You know what all those guys equal? Dylan Guenther. So, I mean, sure, we lost to Connor Garland, but, not the point. But anyways, the Canucks have lost a lot. And some of them were good, like the Erickson contract. Some of it's gonna hurt them, like Colin, Travis Boyd. Some of that's gonna sting. But when you look at their key arrivals, honestly, this team is ready for a cup. On the Canucks key arrivals list, I can't even fit all the names into one thing because there's so many guys that they signed to improve the depth in Vancouver. So the biggest guys, I'll go through some of the big guys first. They acquired the biggest one, in my opinion, Connor Garland from the Arizona Coyotes in that big blockbuster trade the day of the draft. And then the Arizona selected Dylan Guenther with the 9th overall pick, of course. So Garland, very solid. Garland, I think, is a very solid young player who is going to thrive in Vancouver. I loved him in Arizona, and you could argue he was one of my favorite guys, although I do have the legend Michael Bunting in a picture frame there. But anyways, with Garland, I thought he deserved better in Arizona. I really thought he did. When I heard the stories of how they just didn't answer his calls, didn't try to sign him, and he wanted to be there in Arizona, and sure, he wouldn't have fit our time part anyways, but it still hurts seeing that. So, as a Coyotes fan, it is unfortunate. They also acquired from the Arizona Coyotes as well Oliver Ekman-Larsson, and I do not miss Oliver Ekman-Larsson. To a degree, I do. I'll miss him as the captain. I don't think we have a captain now. And, yeah, he'll probably take an A, maybe. But maybe he can use some of his good years or some of the years in his contract to try and improve in Vancouver, because he'll have a much better team around him. All he really had was Chychrun. Now he has a whole offense, a whole defense. He's gonna get points. I definitely see that happening. And sure, his contract may look shit, but I think he's going to make it look a lot better than it was in Arizona. They also signed from the Boston Bruins, and a guy that I'm a big fan of, Yaroslav Halak. I've had respect for Halak since Tuukka Rask opted out of the playoffs, and he came in and carried them into and through the series against Tampa. Sure, it did end a little bit differently, but they still carried him through it. They also acquired a lot of depth guys in Spencer Martin, Sheldon Rempal, John Stevens, Kyle Burrows, Philip DiGiuseppe, Sheldon Dries, Devontae Stephan, Brad Hunt, Justin Dowling, Nick Patan, Danilia Klimovich, and Brady Keeper. Now, two guys that they acquired on the blue line that could be important are Luke Schenn, a two-time Stanley Cup champion with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Underrated. And look, my family, and I'm not gonna say everyone, my family specifically, because we're all Flyers fans, right? We're all Flyers fans. You all sit around the TV and watch our team lose. But all Flyers fans can agree, most of them, can agree that Luke Schenn, when he was in Philadelphia, was just god-awful. He was not good. And honestly, you could say that he's overrated because of the team that he plays around. And I honestly wouldn't blame you for that. Like, a lot of guys on that team are probably pretty overrated. To a degree, Hedman's overrated. Sergachev's a little bit. But there's a couple guys in that team that are underrated as well, like Jan Rutta. I think he's a good underrated guy in Tampa. But anyway, you could call Schenn overrated because he played on a great team. But then you're calling Leon Draisaitl overrated. And I honestly can't see that. I don't see that. Because Draisaitl plays with the best player in the world. And even before that, he was the best. So, anyways. Luke Schenn, acquiring him on the blue line is good. But if it goes wrong, if he shows signs of what he did in Philly or Toronto or anywhere else, yeah, it doesn't look good. So, They also acquired Tucker Pullman from the Winnipeg Jets. It's the final acquisition, by the way. A solid one. Another good defensive guy. I think his contract that he signed with Vancouver could be more effective in a bad way towards as it progresses along. But I think, to be honest, it's a good deal. Pullman's an underrated defenseman. I've always liked him, so we'll see how he does in the lineup in Vancouver. On to your projected lineup for the Vancouver Canucks. Starting off here, we have Connor Garland, Elias Pettersson, and Brock Besser. Then you have JT Miller, Bo Horvat, and Nils Hoglander as your top 6. Yeah, not a bad top 6. I like that. I personally like that. You can move JT Miller up to the first line. You can move him up there and put Garland on the second. See how Garland does with Horvat and Hoglander, and then you put him up there. I really like that either way, though, because they have so much scoring on the offense that they can project enough offense on the top 6 alone that the bottom 6 isn't a problem. So the bottom 6, I don't know why I don't have a right wing on the one side there, but you have Pearson, Dickinson, Bailey, then you have Mott and Sutter, and then you have Giuseppe and McEwen and Dowling as your extras. I'm not sure why I don't have a right wing there. I'd probably put Giuseppe on that side because I think he can play both wings. But nonetheless, that bottom 6 is also solid. I mean, Pearson's an old guy, sure, but Dickinson is an underrated depth scorer. Bailey, he can score goals. Sutter, he's not the same Sutter that we all know, but he's still solid. And, Mott is solid as well. And then Giuseppe, he was a part of that, that fighting core with the New York Rangers. He's definitely going to thrive here. Then you have McEwen and Dowling, who would definitely get shots during the season. Another guy who gets shots is Vasily Podkolzin. I don't have him on my rankings here, but I still think he will definitely get a shot as well. Now, as for the defense is actually very strong. You have Quinn Hughes, him, and Pettersson re-sign with the Canucks, of course. And then you have Tyler Myers as your other guy, so that's the first pairing. OEL and Schenn, your second pairing. Then you have Levy and Pullman as your third pairing. Then you have Rathbone and Hunt as your guys in the fill-in column for the lefty side. So, I look at that and I say, that's pretty good. Hughes and Myers is going to be a solid pairing. OEL and Schenn, if they can work together, that could be a good pairing as well. 2 new guys, obviously. And then you have Levy and Pullman, who, I've talked about Pullman being solid, and Levy is still a solid defenseman as well. And then in the goaltending side of things, you have Demko and Halak. And I feel like that's a tandem that can carry this team. Genuinely honest there. I feel like that's a tandem that can carry this team to the cup. Because it's like Rask and Halak, except with Demko, he's younger. And in my opinion, he's better than Tuukka Rask, obviously. So I feel like that is a great pairing that's definitely going to benefit them throughout the entire season. So, if Demko gets injured, Halak can come in there. And then they have DiPietro down below, too. I don't have him here, but they have DiPietro down below, too, if they need him. So, this team, it's an underrated core. I'm not saying they'll win the cup, but they're definitely close. They may need a couple more things before they can say, yeah, we can win this cup. But if everything goes right, if Hoglander plays well in that second line, if Podkolzin comes in and plays well, if, the guys rise up to the plate, and they, get to where they need to be, this team can be something. Maybe not this year, but definitely in the coming years. And now, my final question to you guys, and the Canucks, obviously. Do they make the playoffs? I've already said at the beginning of the video that some people have been saying, yes, they'll make the playoffs. They're a team. They can finish as high as second. I've seen other people saying, no, they don't. They need another year. They're going to miss. Either way, it benefits Vancouver. If they make the playoffs, boom, you're in the playoffs. You get a chance for the cup, obviously. If you miss, you get another draft pick. You get another good prospect to add to that pool. Because that pool, you can't deny that it's actually very strong. And I mean, Hoglander's not in there anymore, but you still have Podkolzin. You still have a couple other guys in that roster as well. This team looks solid. They do. And whether they make it this year, whether they don't make it, doesn't matter. They'll make it. They'll make it definitely in the next couple of years, and they'll become a contender. So, what I think, yes, it's a weak Pacific Division. I think they're gonna make it. I think they can finish third. I think that's probably what they're gonna do because it's gonna be Vegas, Edmonton, then Vancouver. So we'll see how that goes. So thank y'all for watching. For our support as late, I really do appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Adios.